And like now that we're into the Gen 3, we're talking on the Gen 3 topic. I got so many stories from my childhood because my brother actually got me into Dragon Ball, right? Like we started from the beginning, but I remember, around the Namek arc, that's when we started because everyone's got their own little pocket of time where they like Dragon Ball is like at its most hype. Like I remember around the Namek arc when the first time I saw Zarbon and all these other guys, and they're all wearing Vegeta's armor, and we thought they were
You think
we
they're
thought they were,
Saiyans?
Saiyans like him. We thought they were just like him, And I remember my brother thinking, he was like, "Did you see Zarbon? He's so gay." And like, that's the one thing that I learned about the Japanese dub is that like Zarbon, Dodoria, and even Frieza, if you notice, they all look a bit effeminate. Like Frieza has women's lips, Dodoria also has women's lips, and Zarbon looks gay or like a woman. Pick your guess.
But then when Frieza transformed, all of a sudden he's like got a more like, especially the 2 and 3 forms, he's meant to look scary.
But the thing I learned is that the Japanese dub is in Japan. It's like that's a way for them to get heat on them, because if they look gay in Japan, that's a way like that'll make you seem evil because Japan's more conservative than America. That's what gets heat on the villains, so your audience will hate them more if they look like that because they look a bit fruity.
Especially back then. Now they've changed a lot, but back then for sure. I mean, bro, there not Dragon Ball, bro. In Dragon Ball, Bulma calls General Blue the FAG word, the Japanese version of it, with no censorship or nothing. She's like, "Oh, you're up." So, I covered it in one of my videos.
And Gohan called Super Buu a retard.
Yeah, well, that was in that stayed in though. Like that was in the anime too, but the anime didn't have Bulma saying that. It was only the manga, from what I remember. But the anime made General Blue a pedo, and I don't like that.
And so, as the timeline moved on, we got GT like on Nicktoons because, that would come in and it was still the same dub from, back in the, so I don't know why they didn't have Dragon Ball on there. But do you remember episode 60 of GT? Because there's one thing when I went to go see this in Japanese that actually changed. And I made a video about this. But this is why it pisses me off when people say, oh, Vegeta didn't get any development in GT. Remember in episode 60, right before they were about to fuse, when, Goku's chuckling, like he's laughing, and Vegeta goes, oh, why are you laughing? And then in the Japanese dub, Goku says, oh, because you were the one to recommend fusing. And then in the English dub, they changed it to, Vegeta asks, he's like, oh, why are you laughing? And then Goku's like, look at our sons. They're fighting together. Word for word. I'm not changing anything. He says that line to Vegeta. He says that crap.
Bro, not just that. I didn't know this until a couple years ago. I never watched this shit dubbed. In Fusion Reborn, in the Japanese version, Vegeta's like, Kakarot, I'm never fusing with you again. And in the English one, he's like, we should do that again sometime. And Goku's like, anytime you want, Vegeta. Completely fucking the opposite, bro. The opposite.
Yeah, and so like with this leap from Kai to GT, like SS3 just comes out of nowhere. You're watching the movies and then you see Goku with SS3 against Baby. It's like, what the fuck happened here?
You Super Saiyan 3 was in the Buu saga, and if you were watching Kai and then GT, you have no idea where that came from.
And like the confusion didn't stop there, because I remember, when my brother first saw Videl, because he saw the second Broly movie before me, he was like, oh, did you see Videl? You know about this new character Videl? I'm like, no. Like, like Gohan, that's Gohan's kid, Goten. Like, he had a kid with her. I'm like, wait, what's going on? So when I watched the movie for the first time, like, this is why this movie's so, I guess you could say, nostalgic. Because Gohan, I thought Videl and Gohan had Goten, when in reality they had Pan later on, but I realized that later on, but it was just so hard, I'm just like thinking like, what's going on? Like, why, who is this kid and why is he here? Like, and I know you hate that movie, but that's just something that I grew up with, not having the Buu arc.
I hate that movie, but you're right. There is, if that's your first love, or one of the first ones.
Brand new podcast coming on the 24th of December. That's right, Christmas Eve. The 5 generations of Dragon Ball with Geekdom 101. You don't want to miss it.